So this is my, I think, 6th recording that we're doing this week. I think, lost track of time now. I hope everybody is still safe and well and you're getting some of the benefit out of these videos. So this week's, again, it's going to be about an hour long, but allow yourself a little more time if you're going to do the inversions, so headstand and shoulder stand. As you can see, Rose is joining me again for some yoga. So what you'll need is the usual of something to sit on, replacement bricks, so firm books or something, and 2 chairs of the same height. So I'm just going to be using your regular dining room chairs, and possibly a belt as well. So dressing gown belts come in very handy for that. Oh, Rose is going to be sitting with me. So we're going to do some more chest opening and back bending this week. Try and keep energy levels up, and as I say, back bends as well as rejuvenating the spine also help with your breathing as well. So, but on an energy level, they're definitely good to do at this time when we're not doing a lot else. So just begin by sitting now on whatever you need to sit on. So sitting comfortably in cross legs if you are comfortable in cross legs. Otherwise you can either switch your feet round to the side, sit in Virasana, or you can just stretch your legs out straight. But just using your hands to begin with to encourage your knees to release downwards. And then so use your thumbs on the blocks or on your supports behind you. So do try to have something firmish to sit on at the beginning. You know, I mean a cushion if you've nothing else, but something a little bit firm is ideal. So use your thumbs now to lengthen your spine upwards. So just seeing that your head is level, your eyes are looking straight forward to begin with. So roll the shoulders back and then release your shoulders down. And just draw your elbows towards each other so you really get the outer shoulders pulled back to open your collarbones. And then when you're ready now, just allow your eyes to gently close. And just observe how you're sitting. So make sure that you're sitting evenly over the sitting bones, you're not leaning forwards or backwards. And just checking back into your legs again, so see that you've not begun to tense at the top of the legs. So groins are soft, hips releasing. Again, just roll your shoulders back, bring your shoulders down. And then carefully join your hands. So bringing the base of the thumbs to the chest bone. And let your eyes settle now, so the eyes behind your eyelids releasing downwards. And just allowing the skin of the face to soften. And then bringing your attention now to breath. Allowing your breath to gradually even out. So that it becomes smooth and steady. And then just following the flow of your breath. Observing how the breath feels as it passes through the nostrils, so the inhalation, the exhalation. keep your chest lifted now. And lower your head down. Then release your hands, just rest the back of the hands onto your legs. So slowly open your eyes towards the floor first, and then slowly raise your eyes and your head to level again. Okay, so just staying sitting as you are for a moment. We're just going to interlock the fingers there, so turn the palms and stretch your arms up into Parvatasana. Now just watch as the arms come back that you don't push your head forwards, so keep the head level. And open the palms towards the ceiling. Draw the upper arms in towards your ears. And just take a couple of breaths there. So as you inhale, draw the arms in, stretch upwards. As you exhale, see if the arms will come a little further back. Okay, and then bring your arms down. So we're just going to twist around to your right there. So if you bring your hand behind you, take something for your back hand if you've got to lean back to find the floor. So use the left hand on the right thigh. So you're drawing the left side of the back forwards. Then bring yourself back to face forwards. Change the interlock of your fingers over, so bring the other little finger onto the bottom. So turn your palms and then stretch your arms back up again. Again, take a couple of breaths there. Inhale, stretch upwards. Exhale, bring the arms back. Again, watching as the arms come back that the head doesn't push forwards and that you're not tensing the neck as well. Okay, bring your arms down and turn to your left side now. So making sure that you keep that length in the spine upwards before you bring your hand to the outside of the thigh to turn. Okay, so come back to face forwards. So we're coming forwards in cross legs next, so you can stay on your height if you know you need it. Otherwise, just bring yourself onto the floor. And just bring your thumbs into the top of the legs to start with. So lift your chest and roll your shoulders back. So keep the length on the front of the body as you begin to come forwards. And then stretch your arms forward and just let your head release downwards. Now be conscious of your knees in this as well. If there's any pinching in the knees, just take your legs out wide on the floor. So just take a couple of breaths there. So as you inhale, lift the chest, see if you can lengthen a little more. As you exhale, gradually releasing forwards. Okay, and then just walk your hands in towards you, so come up. And then we're going to change the cross of your legs over now. So come back to your first interlock again, your automatic interlock. So turn the palms and then stretch your arms up again. Okay, and if you stretch the thumb side of your hand more towards the ceiling. So just have a quick look up at your hands. So we're trying to get the palms of the hands parallel to the ceiling. Bring your head back to level. And then bring your arms down and just turn to your right again. Now make sure that you're keeping the lift on your lower back if you are sitting on the floor. So if you feel like you're dropping there, then give yourself some height to sit on again. So just notice where you feel the twist in the back. So come back to face forwards. and change your interlock over again. So bring the other little finger onto the bottom, turn the palms, and then stretch your arms back up. So if you are flexible on the lower back, just watch that you don't arch forward as you take the arms up. And stretch the thumb side of the hand more towards the ceiling. Have a quick look up at the hands again. Bring your head back to level. Then bring your arms down and twist to your left side. Okay, and then bring yourself back to face forwards. So we're just going to come forwards again in cross legs. So if you bring your thumbs back into the top of your legs, so lift your chest, roll your shoulders back, and then bring yourself forwards. And just stretch your arms forward and let your head release downwards. And just stay for a few breaths there. So with your inhalation, lift your chest, see if you can lengthen the front body more. And with your exhalation, gradually release forwards. Okay, so just walk your hands in towards you from there to bring yourself up again. And then just stretch your legs out into Dandasana for a minute. So join your feet together and just stretch your legs. So you're pressing the thighs towards the floor. So if you just have a look at your kneecaps there, see that the kneecaps are facing straight up. So press the back of the knees towards the floor. But watching that your heels don't lift. So if your knees do slightly overextend, your heels will lift away from the floor. So we don't want that. Okay, so we're going to turn round to the side next. So coming into Adho Mukha Vrasana. So if we just sit back on your heels first of all. Now again, if you can't sit on your heels, take something on top of your heels. But just make sure that your knees are the full width of the mat. And that you're firmly down on your heels. And then walk your hands forward from there. Now if your head doesn't reach the floor, then just take something underneath your head as well. So watch that you're not pulling the sitting bones forward away from your heels. And extend your arms, spread the fingers wide on the mat. So the elbows locked so that your forearms are lifted away from the floor. And just checking in with how your body's feeling in this pose. So it's a quiet pose with the head supported. It gives us the opportunity just to check in with yourself. So where you're feeling any tightness in muscles. So how the joints are feeling. Okay, now just bring yourself forwards from there onto your hands and knees. So coming into dog down. So you're taking the little fingers, little toes to the outer edges of the mat for this first one. So if you bring your middle finger so it's facing forwards, just spread the fingers first of all and see that the base of your fingers are firmly pressing into the mat. And then from there, just push up off your knees and come into dog down. Now notice, now you've come off the knees, has the weight changed through your hands? So just see that, so it tends to be the base of the index finger, the base of the thumb where we begin to lift. So press those areas into the mat. And stretch the hips back away from your hands. So if you just lift your heels for a moment, roll the sitting bones up towards the ceiling so you're getting the height in the hips. And now try and keep that height as you begin to stretch your heels and extend them towards the floor. Push your thighs back, so you're opening the back of the knees. Okay, now from there, coming into Uttanasana, so you're going to bend your knees, walk your feet forwards. Now if you need, take your brick equivalents if you need them for your hands to start with. So we're just starting with the hands under the shoulders. So you're going to line up the little toe side of the feet to cover the outer edges of your mat. And then just bring the weight back to your heels for a moment. Just lift up onto the heels. So spread your toes. So lengthen and broaden the soles of your feet as you bring them down again. And we're seeing that the little toe side of the foot's firmly down. So we're lifting the inner arches of your feet, the inner ankles. And of course the kneecaps, the thigh muscles are pulled up. And then from there, we're just going to hold your elbows now and just allow your body to hang towards the floor. So just let your head release downwards. The crown of the head is facing the floor. Now if that feels too much for the legs at this stage, you can bring your hands back to underneath your shoulders again. So we want to keep the firmness of the legs, the kneecaps, thigh muscles are lifted all the way to the top. And just allowing the weight of your body to release downwards. Okay, now from there we're coming back to dog down. So you're going to place your hands back underneath your shoulders, so flat on the floor. Move your bricks if you're using them. So take your hands shoulder width apart this time. And then step your feet back to come back to dog down. So the feet are as wide as the hips now. And again, if we just come up onto the balls of the feet for a moment, so get the length first of all. So from the hands to the outer hips. So lift your sitting bones up. And then keep that height now as you stretch your heels back towards the floor. And just looking at your feet there, check that your feet are going straight back. Now I'm just going to see if we can take the chest a little bit further back towards the legs. So the shoulder blades are moving into the back. Okay, and then we're going to bring your knees back onto the floor. So we're going to take the knees together now, your feet together. Just come back to your heels and stretch forwards. So your head might not come to the floor now with your knees together. So take support if you need it. But draw the outer ankles in towards each other. So see if you can join the heels together. Okay, and then just walk your hands in towards you to bring yourself up. Okay, so see your heels still joined together. So if they've started to separate, just lift yourself again, join them back together, then sit back. Okay, so we're just going to interlock your fingers behind you there. So the fingers are pointing down towards the floor. So roll the shoulders back. So stretch your hands. So you're pulling the hands down towards the floor. So the shoulder blades are moving down the back towards your back waist. But feel that openness across the collarbones. And then we're just going to begin to lift your arms a little way away from your body. Now make sure that you're not just turning the shoulders forward as you lift the arms. So the shoulders back, shoulder blades down the back. And relax the back of your neck as well. Then bring your arms back in. Just release, rest your hands onto your legs for a moment before we change over. Okay, so we're going to change the interlock over now, so the other little finger's furthest away from you. Again, roll the shoulders back first and stretch your arms down. So lift the chest and then begin to lift your arms away from you. And so pulling the shoulders back, shoulder blades down, back of the neck relaxed. So it's just quite a simple way to open the chest. I should have said if you struggle to straighten your elbows there, so shoulders tight, or it's also dependent on proportions as well. If you've got broad shoulders and shorter arms, you may struggle to straighten them. So if that's the case, hold a belt instead and take your hands wider apart. Okay, so just release and rest your hands back onto your legs again. Now we're going to be there just for a minute longer. If you are starting to become uncomfortable kneeling, then you can swap to cross-leg position, sitting on some support. So we're just going to do another chest shoulder opener, Gomakasana, head of a cow arms. So I'll turn this way so you can see behind me. So unless you know that you can hold your fingers in this, just have a belt there over your left shoulder. So you're going to swing your right arm round behind you first of all. So we're just using this hand to see if we can just creep it up in between your shoulder blades. And then so you're going to stretch your left arm up, turn your palm. Now make sure that you've turned the upper arm. So as your hand goes down, the forearm's going to go straight back. And then you're going to see if you can catch hold of your fingers there, or if not, you've got your belt. So once you've caught hold though, roll the right shoulder back. So you're taking the whole upper arm back, pulling that outer shoulder back. Now, if that's a struggle, if that shoulder feels like it's stuck forward, your shoulder blade's poking forward, just loosen off and bring that hand a little lower. So you're stretching the top elbow up towards the ceiling. See if you can take your elbow a little further back. And then just hold that and breathe for a moment. Okay, so just release and stretch your arms down for a minute. Change your belt over onto your other shoulder if you're using your belt. Okay, and then bring your other arm round first this time, your left arm. Again, just use this hand to encourage it up a little more if it will. So you might find this different from one side to the other, so stretch your right arm up, reach down and see where you can catch hold to on this side. And then, so roll your left shoulder back. So take the outer shoulder back again if you need to. If that shoulder won't roll back, just bring that hand a little lower. Hold your belt if needs be. Okay, but turn the upper arm in towards your ear, stretch your elbow up. And just hold it and breathe. Okay, and then just release now and stretch your arms back down again. Okay, now we're coming into dog down from there. So just bring yourself forwards onto your hands and knees. Again, take your feet to as wide as your hips. Just bring your hands a little further forward of your shoulders. So spread your fingers. So carefully push up off your knees to come into dog down. And just slowly stretch your legs in dog down. So your ankles, your feet might look a little red after kneeling, so just have a look if you can see them. See that it looks the same on both foot, on both ankles. Then you know whether you've been sitting evenly or not. Push your thighs back, stretch your heels towards the floor. And then from there, bend your knees, walk your feet forwards to come into Uttanasana. So again, if you need supports for your hands, just grab those. So we're having the feet as wide as the hips now, the inner feet parallel with each other. Okay, now just look forwards. So push your thighs back and extend your spine forwards. So lift the outer shoulders away from the floor. Okay, now if you've got your hands on bricks or brick alternatives, just keep your hands there under your shoulders. If your hands go down to the floor, then from there we're going to walk your hands back to the outside of your feet. And just bring your lower ribs towards your legs. And then let your head release downwards. Or you can hold around the back of the ankles if you prefer. Let your elbows widen out to the side, so feel that you're broadening the collarbones, the top of the chest is open. And then bring your hands back to underneath your shoulders now, so look forwards, extend your spine forwards again, and then slowly bring yourself up to standing. So if you can, coming up with your back straight, if that's too much for your lower back, bend your knees as you come up. Okay, so we're going to come up and do a couple of standing poses now. So we're going to do Vrksasana, tree pose. So if you need a wall for support, take a wall. So if you join your inner feet together, first of all, so just start by lifting onto your heels one at a time. So spread your toes and lengthen and broaden the soles of your feet. And stand in Tadasana. So the shoulders are back, extend your arms, chest lifted. Okay, now we're going to let the weight shift very slightly to your left foot. So catch hold of your ankle, so place the sole of the foot against the inner thigh. Okay, now if you can't manage that, then take it to your inner shin instead. So press the sole of the foot into your inner thigh, but just lift and harden the inner thigh muscle so it's pressing back against the foot. And see that your hips are level as well, so this camera's quite handy for checking my own alignment. So once you feel balanced, then we'll stretch the arms. So don't worry if you lose your balance, just go to the wall. Sometimes just having it there for confidence helps as well, she says, as she falls out of it. So just take a few breaths there. And make sure that you're not holding the breath. Okay, and then exhale, bring your arms down and join your feet together again. So just spread your toes again, lift onto your heels one at a time, lengthen and broaden your feet. And then when you're ready, so just letting the weight shift slightly into your right foot now. So bring the left leg up and placing the foot where it will come to, but watching that left hip isn't lifting higher than the right hip. And get that two-way action between the inner thigh and the foot. And then when you're ready, if you feel you can balance, then stretch your arms. So the palms are facing each other. Just open the fingers, stretch up towards the ceiling, so you're lengthening the side ribs. And stretch your tailbone down towards the floor. So breathe. Okay, and then exhale, lower your arms, join your feet back together, back into Tadasana. Okay, so we're going to do Trikonasana next. So when you're ready, bring your hands across your chest and either jump or step your feet wide. So you're going to turn your left foot slightly in and then turn your right leg all the way out. Now check the alignment of your feet there, so heel in line with instep is the classical pose. If your hips are tight though, take that heel more in line with the toes. And just make sure that you've turned this front leg from the very top of the leg, so you can use the hand there to help you to turn that. So extend your arms and make sure both legs are firm, so you're pressing the feet and drawing up through the legs. Okay, now extend forwards, bring your hand onto your shin, top hand to your waist. So roll your top shoulder back. Now, so just make sure so the back of the head is in line with the back of the shoulders and that front leg hip. So if you're more coming forwards, just bring your hand higher up your leg. And make sure that we're not pushing back on that knee as well. And then from there, if you stretch your top arm up, just turn your head and look upwards. But making sure that both sets of side ribs are even with each other. So just see if you can flatten those top ribs down a little more and extend your bottom ribs. And then press your feet and inhale as you come up. And then just turn your right foot back to face forwards. So going to the other side, so turn your right foot slightly in, turn your left leg all the way out. And again, just use your hand if that helps you to turn from the top of your leg. So that might mean that back thigh needs to come a little further forwards. So now press through your back foot as you extend forwards. Now bring your hand down, again top hand to your waist for a moment. And just bringing the back of the body in line, so the back of your head, the back of the shoulders and your front leg hip. And then stretch your top arm up when you're ready. And then turn your head, look up. Again, just see if you can bring your top ribs down a little more and lengthen your bottom ribs. So if you're quite flexible, if you can reach the floor there without bending that front knee, you can take your hand down behind the ankle. Okay, and then press your feet now, inhale as you bring yourself back up. So turn your feet and then step or jump your feet together again. Okay, so we're going to come into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg pose. Now we're going to have a go at the full pose with the hands in Namaste behind you. So I'm just going to turn that way. So you're going to join your hands together, fingers pointing downwards first of all. That's not straight, that will annoy me. turn the fingers in towards your body and then see if they will turn upwards. Okay, now if your wrists aren't going to allow that, then hold your elbows instead, or your wrists, wherever you can manage. But just see if you can wiggle your hands up in between your shoulders. And then pull the outer shoulders back. Again, so we're taking the whole upper arms back to open the chest. The elbows are winging back as well. Now we're going to come to the back edge of your mat and we're just going to step your feet wide. So check that the heels are level with each other on the back edge of your mat. And then if you just lift onto your heels one at a time, you spread your toes, turn your feet just slightly in. Sit in the kneecaps, thigh muscles are lifted. So press your hands into the upper back to lift the chest. And then, so we're just going to look up, curve back slightly first of all, and then come forwards. Now when you get to halfway, just pause there for a moment. So watch that you're not dropping the shoulders towards the floor. So again, lift your outer shoulders, lift your elbows. Now if this becomes too much for the wrists, you can release your hands and take them down to the floor. Otherwise, we're just going to carry on lengthening forwards. Now don't rush to take your head down too quickly. We want to try and keep as much length as you can on the front of your body. And then lastly, let your head release down. Again, at any point you can take your hands to the floor if needs be. So, but the legs are firm, so you're pressing the outer feet down, lifting through the inner legs. And just let your head hang. So you're still lifting the shoulders. Okay, now to come out from there, we will just release your hands now and bring your hands to the floor. So walk your hands to underneath your shoulders and then walk your feet in towards each other. So without raising the head, just turn yourself to the side on your mat and we're just going to come and rest down to the floor for a moment. So let your forearms rest. You might just want to bring the elbows in line with your shoulders, see if that's more comfortable, but just let your shoulders relax. And then, so walk your hands in towards you now to bring yourself up again. Okay, now this is the point where we will, if you're doing headstand, we will do headstand. So as always, just in case you've not watched any previous videos, firstly, don't do headstand if you are on a period. Secondly, please don't attempt headstand if you're not confident with it and don't already practice it regularly. So if you're not confident with it, you can do the variation on your forearms instead, where there's no pressure on the neck. So where you would take your elbows underneath your shoulders, so I've got the hands, heel of the hands gripped together, like so. So your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. So make sure that your bottom wrists are firmly down, so we've got an even pressure through the forearms, and then so you're just going to lift up from there. So it's a bit like dog down on your forearms. So your head's not on the floor for this variation, you're pressing the forearms to lift your shoulders and take your chest towards your legs. Okay, so if you want to just work work towards headstand. So you're going to fold your mat over twice if you're going to have your head on the floor. So you're going to interlock the fingers like so, so that your hands are open. And your thumbs, tips of the thumbs are just touching. So you're going to, I'm hoping you can see me all right in this. It looks quite clear. I believe it was a bit dark in last week's video. So again, your elbows are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. So make sure that they're not wider. And your bottom wrists are firmly pressing. So you want to also make sure that the wrists are stacked on top of each other. So you will take the back of the head into the hands. So it's the crown of your head that's on the floor, and then you can push up off your knees there. Now you can just practice there if you want to. Or if you know that you're confident in headstand, you can walk your feet closer in towards you and then kick up into headstand. But again, that's only for experienced people who've practiced headstand regularly already. So if you are doing headstand, you can pause the video at this stage and just come back to it when you're ready. So otherwise, and when you come down out of headstand, make sure that you've got enough space where you can stretch your arms out and just rest down for a couple of minutes. Okay, now we're going to need your 2 chairs for this next one. So you want the chairs to be the same height, don't necessarily have to be the same type of chair. Now, because I'm using a cushioned dining room chair here, that's got, you know, that's going to be quite comfortable. So if yours is a harder type chair, you may want to fold your mat over twice and place that over. Now, if you have any neck issues, you may want to have something there for underneath your head as well. So something like, if you have blocks, a pile of blocks, or you could have a pile of cushions, you know, you just have to improvise. You don't want it too high though, because we're going to be going back over the chair. So your other chair is going to be facing towards you. So you're going to start off with the tailbone on the edge of the chair, so your bottom's hanging off the chair there, and then ease yourself back over so that you're lengthening your lower back as you go back. And then, so depending on how wide your chair is, you might just need to ease yourself a little further over. So we want that edge of the chair to be in the bottom of the shoulder blade area. If you do feel a little bit hunched around your neck there, just bring yourself back onto your chair and then ease yourself over again. So the traction of the edge of the chair brings your shoulders down. And then, so from there you're just going to hold around the seat of the chair, hold around the back of the chair with the other hand. And then you're going to take your feet onto the seat of the other chair. And so if you're comfortable with your head hanging as it is, that's fine. Otherwise, you can take something underneath the head and have the back of the head supported so that the back of the neck is long. Okay, so the tailbone, you can either have your feet together or have your feet a little way apart. Just see what, if you're, if it does bother your lower back at all, try just taking your feet apart. See how that feels in your lower back. Okay, now I'm not just resting on the chair here, I'm also using the hands as well. So I'm gripping on the chair, pulling on the chair to open the chest. And we're just going to stay for a couple of minutes. Okay, now the inner thighs are rolling down towards the floor and pressing the thighs towards the floor. So just observe your breath while you're there. So the inhalation beginning in the lower abdomen, so breathing all the way into the top of the chest. So not forcing the breath, it should naturally be a little bit deeper in this position with the chest opened. Okay, so when you're ready to come out, if you bring your feet flat onto the floor, so you're going to raise yourself up very slowly, so bringing the chest up before you bring your head up. So watch that you don't throw your head up, you can end up feeling a bit dizzy or nauseous. So once you've come up, just sit on your chair, rest your hands onto your legs, so the head level, just allow your eyes to close and watch your breath for a minute. Okay, so we are going to get rid of the chairs now and just stretch your mats back out. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the floor now, so we're going to do a couple of the back bending poses. So we're going to come and lie on your front. I'm hoping that you can see me there, yes. Okay, now we're going to start just by stretching the thighs first of all. So if you lift your feet one at a time, just lengthen your legs backwards. And then, so we're going to just catch hold of your right ankle now, or your foot, and bring the heel towards the sitting bone. Now, if you're comfortable too, so you're going to rest on that left forearm. If it bothers your lower back at all though, take your forearm further forward so you can lower your chest down. And you can rest your forehead onto your arm if you need to. Now just make sure that you're not pulling the knee out to the side, your thigh is going straight back. And you're seeing if you can bring the heel towards its own sitting bone. But press your right front groins into the floor. So you may feel as if your thigh is about to snap. Okay, so we're just going to change legs over. And if you want to, you can have the elbow underneath the shoulder, so you're raising yourself into more of a back bend, but just being conscious of your lower back. So take the forearm further forwards if you need to, rest your forehead onto there. And so see that your thigh is going straight back, and press the left front groin. So you're thinking the crease at the top of the left thigh. Okay, so we're just going to change legs over again. So see if it feels a little bit easier this time. Okay, and once more, change legs. But keep your left front groins pressing. So just stay, breathe. Okay, and then so just release now and bring your foot down. So if you have your feet together, so we're going to do Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. So you're going to bring your hands in line with your chest. So the elbows are tucked in towards your side ribs. Now again, if we just lift your legs one at a time, just lengthen them backwards. Okay, and make sure that your kneecaps are lifted. Now you're rolling the inner thighs towards the ceiling and pressing your pubic bone into the floor. So you're taking the tailbone towards the feet. Okay, and then so you're going to feel that you're pulling the hands back towards the waist. So you begin to coil forwards along the mat first of all, and then begin to coil upwards. And if your neck's okay, you can take the head upwards. Otherwise, just keep your head looking where it's comfortable. Put the shoulders are back, release the shoulders down, and lift the side ribs forward. We want to feel that there's an even curve through the spine. Okay, and then just lower yourself forwards and rest down. So if you just fold your arms in front of you for a moment and rest your forehead onto your arms. Okay, so we're going to repeat that now. So if you just bring your hands back in line with your chest. And make sure that the kneecaps are lifted still. So press your pubic bone into the floor and then begin to coil forwards first and then begin to coil upwards. Now don't worry about necessarily trying to straighten your arms. You can keep a bend in your elbows. So we're keeping the front of the hips on the floor, the shoulders back, the shoulders are down. And if you're comfortable to look up, you can. Okay, and then exhale as you lower yourself down. And then just fold your arms in front of you and rest your head onto your arms again. Okay, now we're going to have a go at another back bend, so Dhanurasana. So if you just lift your legs again, lengthen them backwards one at a time. And then, so you're going to see if you can catch hold of your ankles there. Now, if you can't hold your ankles, we'll take your belt around the ankles. Okay, now again, make sure that you're not pulling your knees out to the side in this. So keep your thighs going straight back. If you just lift your thighs one at a time, see if you can lengthen them backwards a little more. Okay, so you're going to start to press the shins into the hands to lift the chest. So you're stretching the shins back, then you're going to begin to lift the shins and balance on your abdomen. So you're stretching the shins, shins back into the hand to raise the chest higher. Lift your thighs. Okay, and then release and rest down. So just fold your arms in front of you and rest your forehead onto your arms again. Okay, so we're going to come into dog down from there. So if you bring your hands back to under your shoulders, so just push yourself up to your knees first of all. Turn your feet under and then just push up into dog down. Okay, and just get a good stretch through your spine now. So if you stretch the back of the hips away from the back of the waist, just stretching out through your lower back. And just let your head release down, so you're taking the crown of the head towards the floor. Okay, and then just bring your knees back onto the floor now, so come back to your heels. Stretch forwards into Adho Mukha Vrasana. Then just walk your hands in towards you to come up. Okay, so we're going to take the legs up the wall next. So I forgot to tell you you'll need a bolster. So instead of a bolster, you can use a couple of rolled up towels together instead, or blankets. So we're going to take that a little way away from the wall. So if you want to switch your mat around the other way. So you're just going to have a bit of distance in between the bolster and the wall. So it's about, if you have a brick, you can place the brick behind it. So you're going to start off sitting on the bolster with the side of the hip to the wall. And then, so you're just going to swing yourself round and bring your legs up the wall. So if you shuffle yourself in, now if your hamstrings are tight, if you know you struggle with your legs at a 90-degree angle, bring your equipment and yourself further away from the wall. So you want to just feel that that tailbone can just slightly tilt down, so in between the bolster and the wall. And then if you roll your shoulders under, bring your shoulders down. So you can either rest your arms out to the side or rest your hands on your lower ribs. But just let your eyes close now. Okay, so the feet are together. You're just gently pushing your thighs towards the wall. So not working your legs too strongly, but enough to keep the alignment of the legs. So just breathe smoothly and evenly while you're there. to come out. If you bring the soles of the feet onto the wall, just push yourself off your bolster and bring your legs into cross legs. So the back of the hips are on the floor, your cross legs are on your bolster. So just rest there for a moment. So just cross your legs the other way now. And then bring your legs together. Just turn yourself over to the side to bring yourself up. Okay, so we are lying down now for Shavasana. If you want, you can take your bolster underneath the back of the knees, particularly if you do have any lower back issues. That's really nice. In fact, I'm going to use that today. Okay, so if you make sure that you start off with your legs bent and just ease yourself slowly back, so you're lengthening your spine as you go back. Again, so if you're not using your bolster, just stretch your legs carefully out. Or if you need more support for the back, you can rest with your legs bent. So if you do really struggle with your lower back. And then roll your shoulders under one at a time, so bring your shoulders down away from your ears. And just see that your chin and your forehead are level with each other, so you're not tilting the head back. But just allow yourself to settle now. Allow the weight of your legs to release. So the legs falling away from each other from the very top. So the lower back muscles releasing towards the floor. So the middle back releasing into the floor, the upper back. So the shoulders relaxed. So feel the weight of the forearms becoming heavier. And your fingers gently curling towards the palms. So the throat soft, the root of the tongue soft. Just allow the skin of your face to soften, to settle back. And then just quietly observing the movement of the breath in your body. Movement of the chest, movement of the abdomen. circulation slightly deeper. So begin to bring the awareness to your body again. Just beginning to move your fingers and toes first of all. And then when you're ready, just bend your knees, turn over onto your right side and just rest there for a moment. So supporting your head with your upper arm. And then, so use your left hand on the floor now to push slowly up. Keep your eyes closed as you come up. And just come and sit back either in cross legs or however you'll be comfortable. And take a minute to check in with how you're feeling. And then join your hands together, so bringing the thumbs, base of the thumbs to the base of your chest bone. So bow your head down. And then slowly open your eyes. And then slowly raise your head to level. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed that sequence. So thank you for taking the time to do some yoga, and thank you for your support as always. Namaste. So take care all and stay safe as always. And I'll see you next week. Or not see you if you're watching the video. You'll see me next week.